Hey y'all, Kelly K Consulting. So, this is my retreat weekend, and so I'm about to, shut down the socials and really start my journaling and think about goal setting and where I want to relax and all those things. But it's been a minute since I read from my book. So sometimes when you hear pieces from a book, it helps you to kind of understand what the book is about. And this book has been resonating with women of all ages, even though it says from surviving to thriving in your 20s and 30s. The reason I wanted to read to you is I've had several discussions lately, both with young men and young women, around the topic of anxiety. And it's off the chain, it's all over the place. And I wrote about it in the book. And so I just wanted to read you a little story. And it starts out, the title is a little morbid, so bear with me. It says, Graduate School. I dropped the baby down the sink. A few years into the corporate world, I felt my options were limited with my generic undergraduate business degree. I could have networked better as well, so I was dealing with some overall limitations on my options, and my connections were limited. I decided to go to graduate school. I was incredibly scared and anxious. I was going to have to take another entrance exam. I saw the other day where I think it's Yale and Harvard are getting rid of the entrance exams. I'm like, dang, not fair, because they were just a nemesis for me. So I ran this book that around the same time I learned I was going to be an aunt. And we say aunt in my family, but I was very anxious. And it wasn't even my child. I think it was because I take responsibility for people, and I'd always felt responsible as an older sister, and then here he was going to be a dad. So I dreamt that I was babysitting my niece, and she's grown now. She's fine. And it was just a dream, and left her go on a date, and I dropped her down the disposal side of the sink. Could that get any more morbid for a dream? Despite the anxiety regarding all the changes, I decided to soldier on. I recruited my friend Beth, who was also going back to graduate school for accounting, to study with me for the math portion of the GMAT. And we would meet at the college library we had gone to undergrad, and I would try to focus on studying where, if I were to be honest, I was kind of looking at all the cute guys. And I realized that around 24 years old, I was probably too old for a 19-year-old. But I did study, and I had nightmares. And, they always talk about that nightmare of being naked somewhere in public. Well, at least I had a towel on. But I would dream that 6 months after school started, I finally showed up for class, and then I'd forgotten my schedule, and then I'd forgotten to buy books. And the anxiety really got heavy the day I went to take the GMAT. And so I'm telling you this because I want you to know you can overcome these things. I want you to know you can move through the stuff that overwhelms you, and you can make changes, y'all. So I knew that I was going to be going to a state school because that was within my price range, and I was going to be paying for most of it myself. The testing site was at Vanderbilt University. And if you've ever heard me talk, one of my goals, one of my bucket list is, before I die, I want a PhD from Peabody, which is at Vanderbilt. I want to be able to say I did it. And so here I am. I'm on the campus of Vanderbilt University. I was already nervous about taking the GMAT. Then I get lost, and I'm running late. Okay, so it's all the things, as they like to say. Finally, I made it to the right testing room just before the doors were shut and locked to latecomers, because they did that. I sat in the only left-handed seat remaining. Yes, they actually made those for us lefties. And it was broken. I dropped my pencil, and in this very large lecture hall, my expletive echoed. And that is how I began my GMAT experience. I did indeed score low, but because I was high enough in my undergraduate grades, the GMAT kind of was just enough, if you will, to get me in. And my brother had 2 more children. He has 4 now, and everything's fine. They all turned, nobody got dropped down the sink. These were experiences that I had in my 20s when I was making new changes and that kind of new levels, new devils you've heard me talk about. I believe that confidence is built in the do, and I talk a lot about that in this book. So I hope that that's inspiring to you. This book, again, is just not for people in their 20s and 30s. I think it resonates a lot of the topics on a lot of things. So I hope that you'll consider purchasing it. I hope you'll consider maybe even giving it to someone for a gift. At $10, it's not a big price, and it's also on audiobook as well as Kindle. So I hope that was inspiring to you. Just been on my heart of these conversations that I've had lately with some 20 and 30 somethings. And you don't necessarily move ever out of kind of that getting into anxiety, new levels, new devils, and you just keep moving through it, and you keep moving towards that purpose and pursuing those things that you know you're here for. I hope that's inspiring. Okay, I'm going to make myself do some work now, and wishing you and your family a great holiday season. I'll see you.